Well, it has been a little bit since we've done some hammer testing, but it's springtime now up here at 10,500 feet, which is our hammer testing location. And well, it's a beautiful day and we got a hammer to test. So what we have here is the Valley Tool rock chipping hammer, retailing for $25. And well, I expect this to be an interesting test. A couple of things if you're new here. I've done a bunch of rock hammer testing last year. There's a whole playlist of those videos which you can go and check out. And the basics of it is, well, we have some rocks that we're going to hit here. We have a second location with some much harder rocks that we're going to go and hit. So we're doing two kind of tests here. One is the mushing test. What does the face of this hammer look like after beating on some rocks for a little bit? And then we're going to go to the harder rock location and see if when it chips out, or if it chips out, does it launch bits of metal at Mach speed enough to injure you, enough to penetrate through clothing and skin, or does it just dent and ding? We've had some interesting results in the past. Along with those interesting results came some interesting comments. Rock hammers, okay? You want to be the hammer model there? Rock hammers. They are not the best tool. The best tool for the job may not be a rock hammer, but it might be the tool that you have. And as we know, a lot of companies now say you can no longer hit rocks with these rock hammers. Not this company, though. They definitely call it a rock chipping hammer.
They do say always use the correct tool for the right job.
Exactly. We'll talk a little bit more about this company here in a second. If you are going to be hiking 5 miles, a rock hammer might be the tool for you, especially if you don't know if you're going to be finding anything at all. If you do know that you're going to be digging a big hole, then a shovel is good, a geopick is good. You're going to be chiseling vugs of crystals out of volcanic rock. Well, hey, maybe a 2-pound hand sledge, 4-pound engineer's hammer, and a set of chisels will be right. In lieu of those things, we use these. So, the Valley Tool Company came highly recommended to me. I believe that is because people think they are a California company, which I guess technically they are, but these are made in China. It doesn't say it's made in China on the hammer. It doesn't say it's made in China on their website, but I contacted them and it does in fact say, they said in their email, it is a Chinese made product. That does not necessarily mean that it is good or bad. It just means, well, it's a Chinese hammer. Of unknown metal, that's most of these hammers. There's only one company that tells you what's in them, and we'll get to them someday. So, now that you've seen this, what do you think? How is it going to hold up? You've seen a lot of rock hammers.
Seems uncomfortable to use. It's very short.
It is a little short.
I don't know. I mean, it looks the same as all the other ones, so
we
hard to judge.
We will find out today. I must say, I'm both impressed and disappointed here. I am impressed with how the face of this has handled all the hitting of rocks. We have no chip outs. There's a couple little dings in it, and I mean, obviously some wear. Nowhere near what the Estwing experienced in a similar number of blows. However, I'm very disappointed in this handle. I'm feeling like 100% of the strikes just like straight into the elbow, which is not fun. It has kind of a weird like taper to it that doesn't really match the human hand very well. So yeah, I think it is time to head up the hill and hit some very hard rocks and see what happens to this. If it chips out in a good way, a bad way, dents, dings, we'll know real quick how this thing's going to perform. One good indicator that I like to look at is how sharp or smooth these hammers are after you've hit a bunch of rocks. And there's no little burrs that are catching my finger. Overall, I mean, that's not bad at all. These are the rocks that we're going to be hitting next. They are agate, chalcedony, dendritic chalcedony. You know, people like to say that it's not an agate because it doesn't have banding. Well, sorry, some of the stuff does have banding. Maybe not the one in question, but the next one over might. You never know. And let me show you these things up close real quick. So this is where we're going to be hitting. You can kind of see a good piece here. This is also my least favorite part of this, because if it's going to chip out and it's going to hurt me, it's going to be on one of these rocks right here. So, you know, this is where I'll get shot with a piece of metal if it's going to happen. It's denting, but I'm not seeing what I see in this picture right here, which is, this is the modern Estwing, where we have heat fracturing, or not heat fracturing. You're seeing the heat generated by chips being sheared off. And this seems like it's denting, which that is a good sign so far. Dents and dings. Some pieces are missing, but I'm not seeing that brightly colored discoloration. All the rocks that you see behind me here are chunks of chalcedony. And let's say you walked 3 miles to get here, not knowing if this was going to be here, and this was the tool that you had, a rock hammer. Would you be like, no, and walk 3 miles back to get better tools, to turn around and walk 3 miles back? That's why these things need to perform as stated. So something to take into consideration. I have some photos of this that we need to take. We're going to do a little bit of scratching around on the pry end of it, because this is a pry end, not a chisel. And yeah, look at this back in the shop. I've slowly gathered in a lot of rock hammers, I think. These are a good representation of what you can find out on the market in some ways. Let's run through it first before we get into the Valley hammer here. A wood-handled hammer like this, the Tro and Holden. A modern Estwing. This is the one that was chipping and throwing bits, and I felt it. A slightly more modern one with the yellow cap on the handle. The $9.99 Amazon special, which has been the worst one by far. Vintage Estwing, which that's what you've been using. Vintage Estwing. And the best buy kind of on the market today, if you're looking for something new, which is the Ox Grip. The downside of this one being the handle. And that kind of brings up the other topic. So we have basically 3 parts of a rock hammer. We have the diggy pry end, the hammer end, and the handle end. And I guess we won't count the neck. But basically, the downside of this is, I'll wear a size large glove, and it feels a little much, right? That the hammerhead performed great. The digging end performs great. This is just not that comfortable. Maybe if you're a man and you wear a size XL glove, this is great for you.
Yeah.
Everybody else, maybe not so much. Here, when you wanna, that's a little big. Like if it's something you're gonna use all day, it's not ideal.
No.
For where you wear a size small glove, versus this. Like if you look at yours, which is the Vintage Estwing, much smaller handle, much smaller. So, I can touch the pad of my thumb there. I can't get it. It feels too big. So those are the 2 that we've been using. What you're looking at right now on the screen is the modern Estwing that chipped out and created, I don't even know, heat discoloration in the chip, which means it was shearing, shattering in such a way that it was just throwing bits. Now, when we were testing the Valley, and we also tested some of the digging end of it as well, which did not perform well. I thought this actually did pretty good when I was out there. I was like, oh, it's mostly denting. Well, the microscope doesn't lie. And unlike the Ox or the Vintage Estwing, we can see some clear heat discoloration in some of these chips. And that means bits were shearing and shooting off of this. And while they didn't hit me, that doesn't mean it wasn't happening. It could have, yeah, absolutely. They leave with such speed that they can easily fly through clothes and into your artery in your leg or into your eye or neck or some other important bit on you. So the digging end is straight, which was very unenjoyable to use. If we compare it to another one, so you'd think that wouldn't make that big of a difference, but it really does.
Yeah.
Right? For scraping, you see a little rock sticking out, and you're like, oh, that's not moving. So you start to scrape around it and get under it to pry. If you don't have that curve, well, it just kind of wants to slip out. Mm-hmm. So I would say it's a fail for the hammer end, a fail for the pointy pick end, and then the handle is also a fail.
I mean, it's almost bigger than the Ox.
Yes.
And not squishy.
Yeah, so it's very tapered and kind of bulbous, right? You grip it and it's all pinky. When you're swinging this thing, because it has such a big taper to it. So, also no lanyard. I like a lanyard hole. I was looking at this and I'm like, why is that there? I think that is actually a plastic lug that connects the handle to the tang of the tool in there. So if you were to drill it out, it might even just come off. I don't know if they used glue. I don't see any glue scored out here. Some of these other ones you do. So overall, I would say a complete fail. You feel it in your elbow. It's dangerous to hit a rock. Sucks for digging.
Very short.
Yeah, it's short.
I mean,
it's a little bit longer than the Trone Holden, right? A little bit longer. But compared to the standard rock hammer that you're probably used to, you're minus nearly 2 inches. A little over, 2.25 inches. So, don't buy this. That's my recommendation. Thoughts? You used it?
Yeah, I used it for prying and it didn't really work so well. I wasn't thrilled with it, and it's way too big for my hand. So it wasn't too comfortable to use.
It's too big for my hand. It's too big for my hand.
I just don't know why they're making the handle so big. Where are they coming up with that size? Is that just the amount of plastic they need to cover the connector? Or I don't even know.
I have no idea. You'd probably need to wear like a double XL glove to have this thing be comfortable. So, I think we're going to stick with the two best picks as of right now, which is if you are a man that wears a size medium glove or smaller, or a woman or a child, vintage Estwing. If you're a guy that's got a size large glove or a large XL glove, well, hey, maybe the Ox is your jam. And the Valley, the modern Estwing, the El Cheapo, these things, these still go in the example only pile. And these are still the two top hammers that we've tested. But stay tuned. There's more hammer testing to come. Hopefully I don't get shot in the face with a piece of metal. And throw a like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.